Picture this. You are a bounty hunter, former cop, currently broke, $11,000 in gambling debt. Your career is circling the drain. And then the phone rings. Your boss has a job for you. Easy money, simple target, one bail jumper who needs to be brought in by Monday. You say yes before he even finishes the sentence. And then he tells you who it is. Your ex-wife. Now a normal person might pass on this one. Milo Boyd is not a normal person. Milo Boyd says, "Where do I sign?" The Bounty Hunter is a 2010 romantic action comedy directed by Andy Tennant, the man behind Hitch and Sweet Home Alabama, starring Gerard Butler and Jennifer Aniston at the absolute peak of their Hollywood. Critics were not kind. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 13%. The film grossed $136.3 million worldwide against a budget of $45 million. That's a hit, people. A fast, funny, genuinely charming road trip rom-com with a real murder mystery woven through the middle. It absolutely delivers. So, let's break down every scene, every twist, every trunk escape. Milo Boyd, played by Gerard Butler, is a former NYPD detective who now works as a bail enforcement agent, a bounty hunter. And he is, by any reasonable measure, a mess. He was fired from the police force for dereliction of duty. He owes $11,000 in gambling debt to a bookmaker named Irene, a hard-edged woman who is perfectly comfortable sending her goons to break a few kneecaps to collect. His apartment looks like a crime scene. His car is a battered blue Delta 88. His love life is non-existent. And his ex-wife, whom he has not spoken to since their divorce, has just become his next assignment. Nicole Hurley, played by Jennifer Aniston, is an investigative reporter for the New York Post. Sharp, determined, perpetually juggling 17 things at once. She was arrested for assaulting a police officer specifically. She posted bail. She was supposed to appear before a judge. But then her informant, Jimmy, called. He had information on a story she'd been chasing, an apparent suicide that Nicole was convinced was actually a murder. A man named Walter Lilly had dived off the side of a building. A black SUV with stolen plates had been spotted at the scene. Nicole had 4 minutes to make it to the courthouse. She chose the story. The judge revoked her bail. A warrant was issued for her arrest. And Milo's phone rang. Milo is ecstatic. Nicole's bail bondsman, Sid, offers him the job for a bounty of $5,000. Sid is out $50,000 if Nicole isn't back in jail by Monday. $5,000 to arrest his ex-wife and put her in a cell. Milo considers this the greatest professional opportunity of his life. He cannot find Nicole anywhere, so he does what any resourceful ex-husband would do. He goes to her mother's place. Kitty, played by the magnificent Christine Baranski, is Nicole's mother, a glamorous cabaret singer and Atlantic City hotel owner. She inadvertently lets slip where Nicole is. Milo finds her at a racetrack in New Jersey. Nicole runs. Milo catches her. Nicole escapes. Milo catches her again. In a sequence that perfectly establishes the film's rhythm, Milo finally apprehends her, throws her into his car trunk, and drives toward Manhattan. Nicole, because she is Nicole, immediately lights a flare she found in the trunk. Smoke billows out of Milo's car on the highway. He pulls over, opens the trunk. She punches him directly in the lower abdomen and makes a run for it. He catches her anyway, and the road trip begins with Nicole in the passenger seat. Milo absolutely thrilled with himself, and at least 3 separate groups of dangerous people closing in from every direction. Because this movie believes in chaos, there are not 1, not 2, but 3 separate parties hunting Milo and Nicole simultaneously. Threat 1. Irene's thugs, sent to collect Milo's gambling debt by any means necessary. They confuse Nicole's lovesick co-worker, Stuart, for Milo and kidnap the wrong man. Stuart, played by Jason Sudeikis, in full disaster mode, spends much of the film being tranquilized, kidnapped, and generally humiliated. He is eventually shot with horse tranquilizers by a racetrack vet. Threat 2. Earl Mahler, a corrupt cop played by Peter Green, who is directly connected to the murder story Nicole is chasing. Earl pulls alongside Milo's car on the highway and tries to shoot Nicole through the window. He misses, crashes, escapes by hijacking a passing vehicle. And then there's Threat 3 Stuart again. still trying to rescue Nicole from Milo, despite the fact that Nicole has never once asked to be rescued. Meanwhile, Nicole and Milo are starting to remember why they fell for each other in the first place. The bickering, the sparring, the refusal to back down. It's exhausting. It's also kind of electric. The road trip lands them in Atlantic City, where Kitty runs her hotel, and where Milo and Nicole spent their honeymoon. The bed and breakfast owners they check into still consider them the most in-love couple they have ever hosted. That evening, over dinner, the walls come down a little. Milo admits he thinks their divorce was a mistake. Nicole thinks their marriage was the mistake. These are not the same opinion. But later that night, Nicole overhears Milo on the phone telling Sid that even if they sleep together, he's still bringing her in for the bail money. Nicole does not take this well. She waits until Milo is asleep, handcuffs him to the ornate hotel bedpost, takes his car, and drives to rescue her informant Jimmy from the tattoo parlor where Earl has been holding him hostage. At the tattoo parlor, Nicole frees Jimmy and discovers a photo of Earl and Bobby Jenkins together. Bobby Jenkins, Milo's best friend on the force, the man who walked Nicole down the aisle at their wedding. Suddenly, the murder story has a very familiar face at its center. Meanwhile, Milo has ripped the bedpost off the headboard and been evicted from the hotel. Priorities. Nicole tells Milo what she found. His best friend, his ex-partner, the man who signed off on Walter Lilly's death as a suicide. Milo doesn't want to believe it, but the evidence is the evidence. Bobby confronts Earl, who used to be Bobby's friend but had been using his name to gain access to the NYPD evidence depository and steal a large amount of confiscated narcotics and cash. Walter Lilly had been helping Earl steal from the depository. When Walter wanted out, when his conscience finally kicked in, Earl killed him, made it look like a suicide. Bobby had been quietly building a case against Earl for weeks. He just didn't have enough proof to move yet. Then Nicole started pulling the thread. Bobby decides to act. He goes to the depository alone at night, and Earl is already there, stuffing drugs into a bag. Earl draws a gun and shoots Bobby, not fatally, but down. Milo and Nicole hear the shots. And despite everything, despite the bail bond, the gambling debts, the trunk escape, the handcuffs on the bedpost, they run in. Inside the depository, Earl has Milo at gunpoint. Nicole pulls a shotgun from an evidence box. Earl calls her girl. She shoots. When Earl spins to fire back at her, Milo takes him down. It's over. Outside, police cars, ambulances, Bobby, bleeding but alive, explaining everything to his colleagues. Bobby confirms the full story. Milo quietly notes that Earl might have gotten away with it entirely if Nicole hadn't picked up on certain clues. He says it like it costs him something to admit, which for Milo it does. And then because this is the movie it is, and because Milo Boyd is who he is, he walks Nicole to the police station, not because he's being cruel, because they talked about it. Sometimes the job has to come first. Sometimes hers does. Sometimes his does. Nicole is processed. She uses her one phone call, not to call a lawyer, to call in her story. Of course she does. Milo walks out of the precinct, runs into the cop who insulted him earlier in the film, punches him in the face, gets arrested. The final scene, Milo and Nicole in adjacent holding cells, kissing through the bars. They are both in jail. They are both absolutely fine with this. Critics in 2010 compared The Bounty Hunter unfavorably to Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And honestly, that comparison is a little unfair in both directions. This is a different kind of film. It's not trying to be an action spectacle. It's a road trip movie about two people who are terrible at being apart and equally terrible at being together, who spend 110 minutes fighting their way back to something they threw away. And Butler and Aniston, whatever critics said, have a particular chemistry that works precisely because it's combative. They don't soften for each other. They just keep showing up, which, as love stories go, is actually rather honest. The Bounty Hunter, 2010. $136 million at the box office doesn't lie. Drop a comment. Team Milo or Team Nicole? Who was more annoying? Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.